On today's episode of Locked On Pirates on Monday, June 27th, we're going to be talking about a lot of these players that are going to be returning from the IL pretty soon, like Yoshi Tsutsugo, Josh Van Meter, Kevin Newman, etc., because there's a lot of them, and what the Pirates are going to do with these guys and how it could also affect their plans for the trade deadline. All of that and more on today's episode of Locked On Pirates. Of course, it's Monday, so you know Gary Morgan is joining us as he always does on this fabulous Monday. Pirates coming off of a full sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays, but I will have another episode up today predicting and previewing the National Series and the week ahead. And with that said, if you want to bet on these games, make sure you go to Bet Online to do so. More on them later, but with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into today's episode.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to that Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. My name is Ethan Smith. As always on Mondays, to my right, or however, whatever direction. I'll figure the direction out eventually, just like the Pirates should figure out their direction eventually. But Gary Morgan is here, as he always is every Monday. And interesting weekend of baseball in Tropicana Field that we got to witness. Lots of weird things happened. I was like, okay, this is not usual to what we usually see, but we are talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates here, so, you know, things aren't usually as they seem anyways. But on today's episode, Gary, who also, while you're checking this episode out, had a very lengthy piece on today's topic, the Pirates have a conundrum that is going to be coming up pretty soon that involves a lot of these players who have been on the IL for a while coming back. And right now, they're pretty loaded already. I mean, you see even Travis Swaggerty was up here for a minute, and he's still in AAA working out his kinks and everything like that. Kevin Newman, Yoshi Tsutsugo, Josh Van Meter, I even believe Ben Gamble is on this list as well. The list is pretty long for these guys that are on their stints right now. Even Tucupita Marcano just started his rehab assignment in Bradenton yesterday. What in the world are the Pirates going to do? I mean, this is going to be a lot of moving parts very quickly in a short amount of time.
I mean, for starters, there's no way they're going to get through this without ticking off a bunch of people. So.
Oh, 100%. I'm already fully prepared for the Twitter rage that is going to come from somebody getting sent down for Josh Van Meter.
To be honest, I'm not... Well, see, I don't think that's entirely true because, like, if they sent... For instance, Yu Chang packing for Josh Van Meter, I don't think too many people would care. Do you know what I mean?
It's a stone for a stone.
Except Josh Van Meter was actually doing okay there before he got hurt. So
that is true.
You know, I don't want him back on the team. I don't really think there's a need for it. But it sounds very clear like they want to return a lot of these veterans. So I get that. They even started making a soft landing strip today by talking about having some value in sending some of these guys back down to learn some things, right? So, I mean, they're setting it up that that's what they're going to do. And I don't think it's entirely wrong. I think you do want some of these veterans back. It's kind of part of the game, really.
Yeah.
If you look at the bubble guys, it's not as though this team doesn't have anybody that could go, right? I mean, like... Mm-hmm. You got Yu Chang. Obviously, everybody has wanted him gone since he got here. Boy, Park's done pretty decent since getting the call up, but I still don't think you're going to see anybody shed any tears over him getting kicked out. Cal Mitchell probably has a little bit of growing to do, I would think. You know, the batting average hasn't been great. Diego Castillo, I think, is probably poor timing. Because he's starting to hit a little bit.
Yeah.
With the glove, he has some things to learn, I think. It's not as though any of these guys are really untouchable. This list I just named off. Now, if you're going to turn around and bring up Yoshi, I'm not going to be happy about it. I don't really care who you're replacing. Josh Van Meter, I don't really want that to be for long.
No.
Are you going to leave Marcano down? That's not a great idea. I think he was looking really good, and they need a leadoff hitter. They've got a lot of really, really tough decisions here.
Yeah, and as you said, it's going to make somebody mad. And I've already kind of seen people chat about this a little bit and say that there are some guys, though, in that young core that do not need to be sent down again. Like, period, point blank. Some of them kind of obvious, O'Neal Cruz. If fans are butts, O'Neal Cruz needs to stay at the major league level right now. He's doing fine. I'd even make the case, and I know he's only been up here for a week, but we'll see how it works out for him. But Bly Madris, if he continues even to do 50% of what he did this week, I don't see how you send him down. I mean,
there's a reason that I bring up Cal Mitchell and don't talk about Bly Madris, because
yeah.
Cal's had a nice shot now. And I like the guy. I think he's got a good future, but he's only hitting 200, and he don't have a great arm out there. I mean, Bly's even played really good defense, so there's really no case to be made there.
Yeah,
and Gamble can be a bench guy, and it was not a problem for this team.
No.
So I think that's a fine swap right there. I think there's some of these we're not going to really hate.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kevin Newman for Yu Chang. Great. I want the handed bat. I'm happy. He's hit before. I'll take that for right now. But some of them, I'm sorry, man. I'm just not going to accept. I don't really care what excuse you give me. I don't want to see Yoshi anymore. I don't really think we need to see Jake Marisnik.
No.
I really want like Dylan Peters and Underwood back, and that might cost you somebody like Tyler Beatty. So it's not as though these are all super cut and dry, because Tyler Beatty's been okay.
And even before yesterday's game as well, Anthony Bonda, ever since he added that sinker and kind of, I guess, like I saw a picture that Justice De Los Santos posted of his form changing where his hand was lower. Since then, his ERA has dropped. But, I mean, you mentioned Tyler Beatty as well. Again, there's going to be a lot of these moves, and that's why I wanted to bring it up with you, because I felt like you would give a very good opinion on it, as I would. It's going to be one of those things where, as you mentioned already, it's just going to make somebody mad. It really is.
Sure.
And there's going to be, like you mentioned, do we need to see Jake Marisnik, Yoshi Tsutsugo back here? Do we really need to at this point? Because I'm sure there's explanations for either or, but Marisnik's the one that definitely doesn't need to, just out of pure quantity of what you have. Because if you're keeping Madris and Zielinski, which you should be doing, you then have Zielinski, Madris, Reynolds, and Gamble out there. You don't really need a fifth outfielder, I don't think, if Gamble's back.
No, and I think Madris is safe for another reason, too. Even Derek Shelton's mentioned that he's probably going to get some playing time at first base.
Which he should.
Well, so, you've already kind of got a platoon option there for Chavis. Again, they've done everything in their power to make the case that Yoshi doesn't really need to come back to this team. If they bring him back, and this is why I think it'll tick me off personally, if they bring him back, the only thing they could possibly be trying to accomplish is salvage some kind of trade value out of him. And to be blunt, I think he could come back and blister the ball for 3 weeks and still not get anything worth a crap in return. So,
what team's going to trade for that? Yeah, it's like at this point, what team is going to trade for him?
See, I saw somebody today, like Bryce Harper, I guess, got hurt in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Broke his thumb or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw somebody trade him Yoshi. You think they're going to try to replace Bryce Harper with Yoshi?
Well, I mean,
No.
I could also see in the same light here, like, now, if they would have said Ben Gamble, at least Ben Gamble gives a team value, which is what we're going to get into now after I talk about these wonderful sponsors I have here at the Locked On Pirates podcast, as I always do. The first being Athletic Greens. Of course, they're a product I use literally every day. You probably can't see it behind me, but I have the box behind me every day. I put it in this cup right here. a glass of water every single day. And you know why? Because I want better gut health, more energy, an optimized immune system. I'm not a pills and vitamins guy, and I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great and wanted to see what all the hype was about. So, what is this stuff? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens One, you're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things you need for a perfect day. It's also lifestyle friendly, contains less than 1 gram of sugar, and it costs you less than $3 a day. So you're investing in your health and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit, which, if you build up your Starbucks rewards, probably still more than $3, but you see my point. Athletic Greens also has over 7,000 five-star reviews and is recommended by professional athletes and trusted leading health professionals. So right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system. With convenient daily nutrition, it's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. So go to athleticgreens.com/MLB network right now and get 5 free travel packs with your first purchase and a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D from Athletic Greens, your people who are investing in your health and making you feel way better. Now, after you do that, Gary is a married man. I'm sure he had to go look for the ring one day, and it was probably very stressful trying to figure out what ring she liked, all that good stuff. But we all have to do it eventually. I'm just not there yet. Neither are the Pirates since 1979. But when they eventually do win the World Series again, maybe they should go to Blue Nile, where you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. Whether you're ready to pop the question or you're ready to celebrate a milestone event, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of shopping online at BlueNile.com. So make your moment sparkle with jewelry from Blue Nile, and Locked On Pirates listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement, so of course, use code Locked On for every order that you use. It is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever peace, and go to BlueNile.com today. So now if you are back after the 3 minutes of ads, which we love, by the way, they're the reason I do this podcast for you guys, so you guys can go find a ring. Got a ring right there if you want to count that. Trade value. Gary brought up trade value, and you may not think it, but we are near the end of the month of June. The All-Star break is about 2.5 weeks away. The trade deadline is a little over a month away. So the Pirates are going to be thinking about this. They always do. We know they do because they're the Pirates. They always do something at the trade deadline. We might not exactly like it, 2018. But anyways, maybe part of the reason that they're going to bring these guys back, one, is because, as you said, it's part of the game. You have to have veterans on this team. You can't just be 23-year-olds forever. But maybe guys not like Yoshi Tsutsugo come back, make a little bit of an impact over these next couple of weeks. And you mentioned Bryce Harper getting injured. We've seen some injuries happen across baseball that some of these teams might vie for these players the Pirates have to offer.
Yeah, I think, first of all, they don't have a lot to sell. Really.
No.
You got Jose Quintana. I'm not sure what he really nets. I mean, he's been okay.
Mm-hmm.
They could probably get something for him. I personally think they might get more out of just keeping him. And unless they're ready to bring up somebody like Michael Burrows or Cody Bolton, then I think you should probably just keep somebody that's helping your train chug along the rest of the year. Ben Gamel's on his last year, but Ben Gamel's not going to bring you much back. He's a valuable player, but why wouldn't you just want to keep him around anyway? Get the little bit of leadership out of him you can with these kids while he's here. Maybe even look to re-sign him in the offseason, keep him around another year or so just to kind of shepherd these guys through. Injuries happen. I think we've all seen that.
Hmm.
Um, I'd like to see them be active in the market to try to address a need that they're going to have next year. Like, I know they're going to need a better catcher, no, even a backup catcher. Um, Maybe you're happy with Heineman. Get somebody better than Perez. Why not? Go out there and use some of that prospect depth to get it. You're
Yeah,
going to need another Quintana next year. Go get one. Go get one that's signed for 2, 3 years that someone's trying to dump. Save
and
yourself money in the long run.
and the Pirates love to save money, which is where over the next couple of weeks when I'm talking about the trade deadline is a few weeks ago. I remember I told everybody that I thought the Pirates would be buyers at the deadline, and they were like, "Oh, well, you mean like going towards the playoffs?" You can buy at the deadline without having to make a playoff push. That's
Yeah.
usually the point of it. But you've seen it happen before where a guy like, I can't think of anybody as an example right now, but is just stuck in the place they're at because of a loaded pitching staff. You kind of
Or
saw that with
somebody
Bryce
like a
Wilson.
Kyle Hendricks is an older guy that, and I brought this up on my show, but just as an example, he's an older guy. He's owed about $30 million over the next 2 years. The Cubs are clearly rebuilding. They're going to trade Wilson Contreras, and it's coming apart, and they're coming back up. Well, they're going to want prospects. You could probably do that and have them eat some salary, and then you'd have a nice veteran pitcher for a year or so.
Yeah.
Not. Neither was Quintana. Just saying.
No, and I mean, and the Pirates over the last 2 years have done a very good job at this. I mean, you look at what Tyler Anderson turned himself into. I mean, the guy almost threw a no hitter the last week. I think he was like 8-2 in LA, and he's like a sixth pitcher in that rotation right now. And if you look at the standings, I mean, there's teams that are indeed worse than the Pittsburgh Pirates. For example, the Cubs and the Reds, the Oakland Athletics. I brought this up, Gary, and I know it's not going to happen, but it would be a pipe dream of mine if it did. Well, not a pipe dream, but I'd be very happy. The Oakland Athletics have a certain pitcher that I am very fond of, and you already know where I'm going with this. They're rebuilding. If I'm Ben Cherington, why don't you just, get on the phone, be like, hey, what's it take to get Frankie Montas? Why not? Seriously, why not?
I'm not intimately familiar with Frankie Montas's contract status, but I mean, if you told me he had like 3 more years of control, sure, I'm all in.
Yeah,
If
we'll
it's
look
like
at
he's
later
due
now.
up next year, no. What's the
Hmm.
purpose?
Yeah, now that at that point, no, because then you're just taking contract and basically doing what the Mets did last year with Javier Baez, which I still never understood that. But Montas, as we look right here, Frankie Montas is a unrestricted free agent in 2024, so they would have control of him for the remainder of this year and next year. So that's kind of it's like a little shaky, I would say, because of a lot of the stuff. But I'm seeing where you're going with it. Is you're saying salary dump, 2, 3 years of control left, somebody that you could see on this team contending, and the Pirates can do that. Again, they can do that. They
Either
don't
that,
have
it's
to.
just acting as a bridge. That's all. I think next year, 500 and competing for a wild card is within the realm of possibilities. I don't think that can happen without signing a better backup catcher
Mhm.
slash starter. Like, I think they need to re sign Roberto Perez or somebody else and wait for Henry Davis to make his appearance at some point next year.
Yep, I
And
agree.
they're going to need more pitching. So you're going to need a Quintana. Either extend him or make a trade. Get somebody. You're going to have to do it anyway. So use some of your prospect depth. I mean, where are you going to play Travis Swaggerty now? There's a number one pick from 2018 that people have all of 9 at bats in the major leagues to judge what he is on. And if you're not going to use him, move him.
Well, and that's where a lot of people have gotten with G1 Bay, for example. Where do you fit
Except
him into
he's
the mold?
22, so to me that's a different conversation. But I get what you mean, because where does he play?
Yeah, where does he play with Piguero, Nick Gonzalez eventually coming up, which not shouts out to him, but hopefully shouts out to a speedy recovery for him with that injury that he sustained. But you also mentioned being around 500 and competing for a wild card spot. Just to put that into consideration for everybody wondering why Gary said that, the Cleveland Guardians are 36 and 32 in 2 games out of a wild card spot right now. The Pirates could very well do this next year, in my opinion. But the additions of, as you said, if they go out and make the pitching staff better internally and externally, because guess what, guys? They can do both. Quinn Priester will probably be ready by next year. Michael Burrows will be ready by next year. And for God's sake, give Cody Bolton a fair shot. Just bring him up here one time.
Cody Bolton's been hurt the majority of the last 2 years and missed all of 2020. The Pirates haven't done anything wrong with Cody Bolton.
Yeah,
This year, I guarantee he's going to hit his inning max by August. So it's not worth worrying about. Michael Burrows is the next guy that's like the big one to worry about. I'm excited about him. And then I think you go to Kyle Nicholas and you got your double A guys. That's where we're at right now. They need more. Priester, I hope, but he lost a lot of time this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually be kind of surprised if he makes AAA before the end of the year. So I'm not banking on him. So I'm just saying there's some stuff. Majinski has taken a step back. They've got Jarrett Jones finally starting to get going. There's some pitching. A lot of it's lower. I think they're going to have to go out and get somebody to be a bridge guy to help them get through. Unless Miguel Yajure steps up and turns it around, or Wilson somehow decides he's going to pitch well. I mean, yeah, they're going to have to get something.
Oh, yeah. And I agree 100%. We'll see if the Pirates decide to do this towards a trade deadline. Of course, I will be covering that all the way up until that point. Let's just hope the Pirates don't do anything stupid at the trade deadline. But we have some baseball this week, another full 7-day slate for the Pittsburgh Pirates heading into this week. And if you want to bet on these games, make sure you go to BetOnline. BetOnline, of course, is your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. And I would not be shocked to see if the Pirates are favored to win this series against the Washington Nationals, and then they play the Brewers, so they will not be favored in that series. But you can find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs, which are going on possibly. At the time of recording, me and Gary are recording during the game, so I don't know if they're still going on, and Major League Baseball, which is definitely going on. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. So BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action, and BetOnline is where the game starts. Speaking of, again, we have a full week of Pirates baseball once again. I forget what we said the Pirates are going to do this past week. I think we both said 4-3. They ended up going 3-4, not winning a game in Tampa, which was kind of infuriating because they really should have won those first 2 games.
They were certainly there for all of them, yeah.
Yeah. And even the last one they were too. But Diego Castillo, as you mentioned his glove earlier, I get that people wanted to be mad at him about that play, but also give Randy Arozarena his flowers on that play. That was a phenomenal play by him to avoid that tag. It really was. But I still digress here about Castillo still should have made the tag. Also, Gary, Tyler Heineman is the best bunting catcher I've ever seen in my life. I don't know where he does it. I don't know how he gets it, but he's just like, all right, cool. Just going to put this one down.
He's one of the better bunters I've ever seen, really. He's pretty much successful just about every time he tries it, which is crazy. And if I was batting under 200 in the major leagues trying to find my way to stick on a roster, I might do it a lot more.
Yeah, so we're going to start calling him Tyler Kenny Lofton Heineman.
Yeah. But, I mean, the Nationals are a good place to land after a tough series in Tampa. And I do feel like the Pirates hung in there. They had good games against the Rays. The Rays are beat to hell, too. So, I mean, this wasn't the Rays. This was, this with their pitching.
Hmm.
And I think they hung in there. I think they should cream the Nationals. I really do. Everyone else has. And the Brewers, the Brewers are beat up a little bit too. We'll see what happens. They still got that pitching staff though, which is why they are where they are.
Yeah,
4-3 again to be aggressive this week, I'd say. But
4-3 would be nice. And I mean, you mentioned how beat up the Brewers are looking ahead to that series before we get to the Nationals. I mean, you're talking about Pedro Severino, who's on suspension, Colton Wong, Miguel Sanchez, Hunter Renfroe, and Brandon Woodruff. Wong, Sanchez, Renfroe, and Woodruff are all guys that make a huge impact for that team. But again, as you mentioned, the Rays backed by their pitching. And Shane McClanahan, after watching that game, I don't see why he can't win AL Cy Young this year. I know
no,
that's very.
he's that good.
He's very. And I saw your partner over there. Why is his name all of a sudden like out of my head? Around the 412. What's his name, Gary? I'm so sorry.
Smitty?
Yeah.
Smitty.
Yeah. He said it's like anytime you get into an 0-2 count against Shane McClanahan, you might as well be writing your death note. And I was like, yeah, after watching him pitch, it felt like that. And
Yeah, he might be the best lefty in the game right now. He's really that good. And it was funny watching the Pirates hit against him. I know that they didn't put up very much. They did better than I thought they would against him, to be honest
especially
with
with a
you.
very heavy lefty lineup, too.
Yeah, I was actually kind of taken back that they got anything going on him. So, um, I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to make wine out of spoiled milk. I'm just saying it was it was a little better than I thought they would fare against him today or
Yeah.
yesterday.
And the interesting thing about this week, and you talked to me about this before we started recording today, is the Pirates currently do not have a pitcher slated for tomorrow
Yeah,
against the Nationals.
I mean the
So
way it
that'll be
times out,
interesting.
I think it's Osvaldo Bido. He would be the guy that's on 5 days rest. Um, they could go bullpen if they want. That might make some sense. Um,
Yeah.
I think if they were going to do that, they probably wouldn't have used Beatty today
Hmm.
or yesterday. So my guess would be Osvaldo Bido.
Could we
Would
see a
have.
Will Crow game?
Well, I mean, we could, but he's not stretched out anymore either. So you'd be looking at like 3 innings, and he's been struggling every time they try to stretch him beyond 1 or 2 innings, hasn't he? So I guess you could see a bullpen game. I'm just not sure you will with no off days for the next 7.
Hmm.
And Bryce Wilson won't be the guy because he just pitched yesterday. So, yeah.
All signs appear to all signs to Beto. That's what it. I'm for that.
That'd be
I'm
my guess
intrigued.
anyway. I don't know what they'll do, but that's what I would guess.
Well, either way, and this is what I'll say about this to be kind of nice. No matter who they put out there, as long as it's not Jared Eichhoff or Bryce Wilson, they should win this game tomorrow. They should just, especially after getting swept. And for all intents and purposes, they really beat themselves over the weekend. I mean, for the most part, Bednar blows the save, Castillo misses the tag, you blow late leads. You really did it to yourself. Not to discredit the Rays. The Rays are a good baseball team. They're going to be a playoff team once they're healthy, I think. They're going to be fine. But you were consistently in all of those games playing pretty good baseball. Your pitching staff was doing well. I think they're going to take that momentum into Washington, and I agree. I think they're going to go 4-3 again this week. I think they sweep the Nationals and then split against the. Wait, no, wait a second.
I'm just
Let me-
saying they'll sneak one out somewhere along the line against the Brewers.
Okay,
But
if I'm saying they're splitting against the Brewers, that means I think they're going to go 5-2. We're getting real bold over here if we're
yeah,
talking about the Pirates going 5-2, but it's possible.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
can't in all conscience say they're gonna win a game that I don't even know who's gonna pitch in. So that's why I'm kind of going. We'll see what happens. The
as
Nationals
long,
just they stink. I just don't know what else to say. They stink. They can't pitch. They
yeah,
have no pitching really, and a team like this is a perfect series for O'Neal Cruz to just go off.
Yeah, it
And
really
like
is.
I know people think he already did go off, but when he goes off, you'll know.
Well, and shout out to betonline.ag, by the way, when his rookie of the year odds were 1,500 before he made his debut, and they are now down to 750, plus 750.
Yeah, you know more about that stuff than I do. I don't
Yeah.
bet. So
I don't blame you. But I also had a episode yesterday talking about why Jack Zielinski should be in the rookie of the year conversation, especially if he can bump that batting average up a little bit.
yeah, he's got to
Um,
stop striking out.
Yeah, and
So
I also compared him to Jonathan India last year, who had a phenomenal year. And the thing about India, if you're just everybody likes to bring up, oh, he's not going to have more home runs than India. He's well over pace on RBIs and home runs compared to India's season last year. The only main difference, Jonathan India was hitting 270 while Sawinski's hitting 215. That's where I will leave you guys on that one. Gary, it's always a pleasure, sir. You already know that. What do you have prepared this week? I know it's kind of we're getting into the dog days of summer, as you call it, where the Pirates are multiple games under 500, and we have plenty to talk about at least this time around, instead of last year where we were wondering if John Nagowski was going to be on the All-Star team.
yeah, I mean, 5 thoughts at 5 today, like always. We also started finally dipping our toe into covering the draft over at Inside the Bucks Basement. Our first piece went up on Sunday from Joe Boyd, basically talking about the values and comps of some of the top picks on the board, which is pretty cool. It's always a fun look every year. So
Oh yeah. So Kumar Rocker to the Pirates confirmed. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. We'll see how that all goes. The draft, of course, during All-Star Weekend this year, because I think usually it would have already happened, but during All-Star Weekend in LA this year, so it should be a fun time over here. Locked on Pirates, you guys already know. I'm back to 5 days a week. We're getting these things out, having a good time. You guys absolutely killed the viewership and like button last week. Over 200 views on 3 of the 4 or 5 episodes from last week. So thank you guys for that. With that said, you guys will see Gary next Monday. You'll see me tomorrow or later tonight as I preview the National Series, depending on how time works. We'll figure that out. But with that said, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you on the flip side.